Now let's look at the rules for rational exponents. And the trick is that the rules for rational exponents are exactly the same as the rules for exponents. And the only difference is that you have fractions. So let's look at some examples. A common rule, for example, for exponents is x2 times x5 is x to the 7th. Right? You just multiply. When you're multiplying x squared times x5, you simply add the two exponents. That's easy to see because x squared is x times x, and x to the 5th is x times x times x times x times x. So that's simply x times x times x times x times x times x times x, or x to the 7th. The example with rational exponents is, let's say, of x to the 3/4 times x to the 2/5. So that's simply equal to x to the 3/4 plus 2/5. And now you simply need to add the fractions. Now the way that I add fractions is I often do it off to the side. 3/4 plus 2/5. The common denominator here is going to be 20. So the lowest common denominator is 20. So that's 20 and 20. 4 times 5 is 20, so 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 4 is 20, so 2 times 4 is 8. So that's 23 over 20. So your final answer is x is equal to 23 over 20. Another common rule for exponents would be x to the 3 raised to the 4th is x to the 3 times 4, or in this case, x to the 12th. So an example here would be with rational exponents is, what if you have x to the 2/3 times x to the, actually, wrong problem. Let's say you have x to the 2/3 raised to the power of 5/4. Then you would simply multiply 2/3 times 5/4, right? So raising a power to a power means you multiply the powers. Now the trick is that when you multiply fractions, you don't need a common denominator. You just do numerator times numerator. So that's 10 over 12. So your answer is x is equal to, x raised to the power of 10/12. You can simplify that because 2 goes into both of those, so your final answer is x to the 5/6. Let's look at another example. Let's say you had x to the 3/4 over x to the 5/2. So one way to think about this is, what's an exponent problem that you already know how to do that looks a lot like this? Well, if you have x6 over x2, right? Then you go x6 minus 2, or x to the 4th. You simply subtract the numerators. You subtract the exponents. Subtract the exponent of the numerator minus the exponent of the denominator. So this is going to be x to the 3/4 minus 5/2. And here you're just subtracting fractions. So you go 3/4 minus 5/2. You need an LCD. In this case, your LCD is going to be 4. So that's 3/4 minus 10/4. So that's going to be minus 7/4. So obviously the problems can get more complicated, but the trick is that even if they get more complicated, the rule is simply that you use the same rules for rational exponents that you use for exponents themselves, because that's all they are, exponents.